And staying in the Philippines, the country's ban on offshore gaming operations, dubbed POGOs, has come into effect with the new year, following President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s crackdown announcement in July. Meantime, a high-profile investigation continues into an ex-small-town mayor, Alice Guo, who's been accused of criminal links to China. CNA's Buena Bernal talks to lawmakers for the latest on this bizarre case.
The first crimes linked to Philippine offshore gaming operators, or POGOs, that were uncovered were prostitution and human trafficking. Over time, investigations exposed a string of other offenses. Scamming operations, kidnapping activities, money laundering, and even allegations of espionage emerged. No stone left unturned, as lawmakers would say. Lawmakers are concerned about the potential resurgence of POGOs despite President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s executive order to ban it. They argue a law is needed to widen the scope of the ban to include POGOs licensed by all government agencies.
And making sure that everything, all the different types of POGOs, regardless of who issued the license, will be captured in the law.
Philippine Senate investigations, which gripped the nation for months, also cast a spotlight on dismissed small-town mayor and alleged Chinese spy Alice Guo Huaping. Her mayoral post is now underpinned by questions on her Filipino identity. With a faked birth certificate, she managed to co-own a firm from which a crime-ridden POGO rented land. She's now charged with graft money laundering and human trafficking, among others.
She's not Filipino, she's Chinese. And now there's allegations that she's even a spy, So imagine her influencing and befriending decision makers in the military and also in the police. And that went undetected.
Alice Guo also managed to evade arrests as she escaped the country. Her case exposed a potential web of corruption in both the country's civil registry and immigration. Lawmakers now seek to pass laws that target these vulnerabilities.
One is to sanction certain behavior or certain actions that may lead to malign influence or foreign interference. The second is create the ecosystem for deterrence to prevent potential actions that will prosper into actual malign influence or foreign interference.
In a recent raid on a POGO hub in northern Philippines, workers I spoke with expressed uncertainty about their futures approaching the holiday season, possibly without year-end bonuses. As the Philippines winds down POGOs, experts said it would still need to tackle underlying systemic issues like corruption and limited job prospects that allowed crime-ridden POGOs to thrive. Buena Bernal, CNA, Metro Manila.
And for more insights into Philippines' POGO ban, let's bring in Joseph Velasco, Associate Professor, Department of Political Science and Development Studies at Salle University. Well, thanks for joining us this evening, Dr. Velasco. So let's just talk about Philippines' ban on POGO that has taken effect. How do you think that the government will ensure that these operations don't simply go underground?
So in July last year, President Marcos Jr., in his State of the Nation address, declared that he will ban POGOs. And he also issued Executive Number 74, which officially formalized the ban. And all of these POGOs must cease to operate by December 31, 2024. And you are right, there's a risk that they might go underground. But I think law enforcement authorities have been very prudent about ensuring that these operations are ceased before it proliferates further.
Well, when you say prudent that these operations are ceased, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
For the past few months, since the announcement that all POGOs will be banned, the Philippine law enforcement authorities have been conducting raids in these offshore gaming operations and closing down these the operations of these establishments.
Right. So, Dr. Velasco, I want to talk about Alice Guo, this high-profile investigation who's been accused of links with China. I mean, it has certainly raised concerns about foreign interference in the Philippines, for instance. Do you think these spy allegations are credible?
I think we must decouple the idea that Alice Guo is a spy at this point. To use the word of Senator Gatchalian, there are allegations, but none is proven at this point. What is quite apparent is her involvement with Pogo-related activities, but to accuse her of being a spy at this point, I think it's premature. There is no proof yet, or there is no tangible evidence that she has conducted espionage in the country.
Right. So no tangible evidence that Alice Guo is a spy, but I mean, her case has certainly blown the lid off some disturbing allegations of corruption, not just in the Pogo industry, though, but in the very fabric of the Philippine state. What do you think, needs to be done so that Filipinos are confident of their officials, that they're not working for the highest bidder?
I think the problem with the situation of Alice Guo is the lack of regulation or the enforcement of these regulations when it comes to allowing individuals to run for public office. To review her document, particularly her birth certificate, it was registered late. It was registered at the time, if I'm not mistaken, that she's 19 years old. So that is actually a red flag when it comes to allowing individuals to run for public office, and government agencies should conduct due diligence when it comes to these individuals.
Now, when it comes to how some Filipinos view the ethnic Chinese community, there have been phrases that describe them, right? That they are economically dominant, they are politically disloyal, culturally different, to some extent. Do you think that, such stereotypes still resonates today? And how do you think that is shaping a conversation around issues like Pogos and Chinese influence in the Philippines?
I think imaginary links have been made between China as a state, Pogos, and Chinese Filipinos. And these entities, each with their own distinct interests, allegiances, should be treated separately rather than a single amorphous block. And to some extent, the Philippines has a very ambivalent and to some extent antagonistic relationship with the ethnic Chinese population in the Philippines. Because you're right, they're viewed as economically dominant, politically loyal, and culturally different. And one of the possible reasons for that is that there is a significant number of Philippines' wealthiest family, particularly in the business sector, which are of Chinese descent. And their economic success has occasionally led to resentment and accusations of monopolizing opportunities in general.
Yeah, certainly, not just in the Philippines, but in other countries as well. I want to talk about this Foreign Interference Act, or rather it's been proposed, right? I mean, that it aims to prevent foreign influence in Philippine politics, for instance. How do you think that such a law can be effective in preventing foreign interference without, at the same time, stifling actual legitimate international cooperation?
I think at the heart of the thing that they are proposing, it's very good and it's very effective. It's very timely, especially for democracy, in light of elections and foreign interference. The only problem is when it is implemented and how it is implemented, which does not stifle legitimate conversations about certain issues related to politics. And I think it's not just simply a legal issue or a policy issue, but it also should include social media, because a lot of individuals now take their news or information not from traditional outlets, but from social media. So I think these social media companies should also be included in the conversation on how to ensure that there is fair discourse within that realm.
Yeah, it's been great chatting with you. Thanks so much for your insights. Joseph Velasco from Salle University in Manila.